It's heartbreaking talking to the kids and their families. They're talking about water that they can't even drink that makes them sick.
Not true.
There's been worms in the food.
Not
the
true.
Food's rotten sometimes.
So she did not go. She chatted with some families, allegedly, started a petition to close Dilley. It's been signed thus far by about 250,000 people who also have never been there. Miss Rachel. The worst.
Gross.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about, like, the SPLC. We're going to be talking about, like, actual Klansmen, actual neo-Nazis a little later on. I still think Miss Rachel is the worst. She's the pits. Let's put it that way. So let me give you a spoiler alert here. Everything you are about to hear from Miss Rachel is complete bullcrap. Okay? She made some claims about ICE and children in detention facilities. And of course, she went on MS Now, formerly MSNBC. We're going to fact check it, but I also just want to take this moment. If you are a parent and you are having your children watch Miss Rachel still, because, they like it and she's nice. They're one click away from celebrating binding their breasts. You understand that. We did a whole segment on Miss Rachel. You are being a bad parent if you don't want them to become an angry feminist leftist. Just to be clear. Here she is, MSNBC, flat out lying.
You have spent so much time dedicated to speaking to 7 different families inside of Dilley and trying to just understand the conditions that they've been subjected to there. I want to know what you've learned from them, what you've learned from all of these kids.
It's heartbreaking talking to the kids and their families. They're talking about water that they can't even drink that makes them sick.
Not true.
There's been worms in the food. The food's rotten sometimes. And what really frightens me is the dangerously inadequate medical care and medical emergencies. These are basic human rights for children, and we can all agree not to harm and abuse children. It's not who we want to be, and I'm kind of in shock about what I'm hearing, and I don't think people really know what's going on inside of Dilley, and I don't think
you do.
If we all know, I really think we can unite over not wanting to harm children.
This is the trick that the left pulls. I think we can all agree that we don't want to harm or abuse children. Of course, absolutely. We had Tom Homan on the show, and he talked about children who he found buried alive, children who were fried in the back of shipping containers because they were locked in by drug cartels. We all agree with that. And then she parlays that into a lie. They're telling me that, well, okay, key fact number 1 here. It's all hearsay. Miss Rachel never visited Dilley whatsoever. Just to be clear. So there's no real way to even fact check what she's saying because she simply claims I spoke with the families, which may or may not be true. And the children may or may not be saying that if she even spoke with them. However, we can actually examine the statistics, the data, the history of the facilities and tell you that it is verifiably untrue. We don't need to go into anything else. She didn't go. She's never been there. The media is acting as though she has visited. She has not. Just like AOC wasn't handcuffed. She did, however, Miss Rachel, post a video for all the kids in question.
The wheels on the bus gonna take you home, take you home, take you home. The wheels on the bus gonna take you home, back to Mexico.
See, she shouldn't train AI on her. It seems like it's missing the tone.
And of course, that's what these families are saying.
Yeah,
they don't want to be there.
They
want to tell people that they're being mistreated so they can come back and not have to be deported.
Yeah. This whole thing, we'll get you get some clips. This whole thing has been orchestrated from the ground up. Just to be clear, it wasn't an accident. It wasn't happenstance. When you look at Eagle Pass, we'll get to that. So she did not go. She chatted with some families, allegedly, started a petition to close Dilley. It's been signed thus far by about 250,000 people who also have never been there. Now, here's the thing. Before we go on, you do need to remember this key bit of information. If illegal aliens don't like the conditions, they are free to self-deport.
Yeah.
Anytime. Now, they won't get the check, the $2,600 plus all expenses paid, because they forewent that on the CBP One app. They can do that right now. If you get caught, you are sent to that. They can still leave. They can still leave to the, equal culture of Mexico.
So they could just raise their hand and say, I'm ready to go back home, wherever that is.
Yep.
And they could leave immediately and not have bad food and bad medical care, supposedly?
Right. Well, that brings us to key fact number 2, because she allegedly spoke with them, and they were allegedly telling her this. No way to really fact check it, aside from the fact that she didn't actually go. But we can show you documented proof as to what Dilley is actually like. Here's a montage, and of course there's limited access, so some of these are older clips, some are newer.
KSAT 12 was given a rare look inside the 55-acre facility. We visited the medical area, classrooms, housing, and cafeteria. It costs $156 million annually to operate this facility.
Okay, manitos abajo.
So she tells you the water, I guess, what is this, like a porta potty water? She tries to tell you that it's non-potable. You'd have to find a district, a county for that to be the case, outside of Flint. And she tells that there are worms in the food. Now, there may or may not be, for example, a fruit fly every now and then.
Right.
You know what? We have that here in the office fridge, to be clear.
I got that from Kava.
Yeah. That's right. That's a place.
That's Mediterranean
Kava is also
Chipotle.
that new street drug that people take, but it's a natural root or herb, something from the Samoans.
Oh,
I don't
sorry
know.
to
But
derail.
Dilley, what do they have? Classrooms, libraries, medical facilities, gyms, recreational areas, cafeterias, chapels, laundry rooms, salons, barbershops. And I know that this is completely untrue because I've spent time with ICE agents. And I will tell you, not only are they on their best behavior because they understand the optics war and that no matter what they do, they will be accused of committing heinous acts. But these people also care, and many of them are Hispanic. Many of them come from families of immigrants. They have a job to do, and they go out of their way to do it incredibly humanely. I've experienced it firsthand.
When we put him in the handcuffs on, apparently one of them was a little bit, not necessarily the best way, so he complained and we made sure that we readjusted him, which speaks about the humanitarian factor. A lot of times people say that ICE agents are, they're all about putting him in handcuffs. No. So look, I'm going to tell them that you call him later, you're going to have a chance to make a phone call.
Right.
We're going to take care of you. Just relax, calm down, don't do anything crazy. Just follow the orders that we give you.
And a key fact here at number 3 that you need to keep in mind, the kids in cages, that's an Obama era thing. It actually goes back to the forced consent policy, I believe, under Clinton, and then they've kind of reversed it. But he's the reason that kids are in cages. Remember that famous "Who built the cages, Joe?" at the debate?
Yeah.
Because they keep trying to change the policy, not based on what's best for the country, not even what's based on what's best for the kids, but for optics. And so this is the problem. This lady is teaching your kids, and she has already decided that feelings matter more than reality. That so long as it yields the result she wants, right, in helping who she views as the oppressed, because she's a Marxist. She is a Marxist, therefore parents who come here illegally and choose to not do the right thing so their children are separated, well, they're the oppressed, so they need to be helped. And however she gets you to believe her narrative, truthful or not, is justified. That is the worldview of the Marxist, and that is how she will teach your children. You need any more proof as to, well, my hunch, because I can't fully fact check it, why this is bullcrap? Every single narrative we have been given regarding ICE and regarding deportations has been false. Remember Abrego Garcia, Maryland man? Well, he was an MS-13 human trafficker. Remember Mahmoud Khalil? Well, actually a pro-Hamas activist who was harassing students. Remember Liam Ramos, right? They arrested a 5-year-old ICE. Well, actually, it turns out it was a father who abandoned the kids, and they actually were trying to have the child be taken by a mom or a family member, and they stayed there to protect the child. You can point me to any example. Guess what? It was a lie. Guarantee you this one is as well. Also, Miss Rachel seems to exclusively fundraise for people outside of the United States. She doesn't seem to care that much about Americans. Gaza, Congo, Ukraine, Sudan. She's done work on behalf of an NGO like Save the Children, which just has the most generic name humanly possible. It's something I would make up for a parody. This is why they're actually mad, the left, to be clear. They don't actually believe that ICE is abusing children. They don't actually believe that they're eating worm-riddled food and drinking toxic arsenic water. They don't actually believe any of those things. I'll tell you this. The left doesn't even believe that it's cruel to give an illegal alien $2,600 an all expenses paid trip back to their home country with the opportunity to come back the right way. The real reason that the left is furious is because they were on track to steal this country from you, the American people, with a record number of bought and paid for votes. Need more proof? Check out this video of Eagle Pass. Remember, Eagle Pass was really a center point of the conversation? It's now pretty much empty, no traffic.
This is the U.S.-Mexico border near Eagle Pass, Texas. You can see Mexico just a few yards away across the Rio Grande. And this is what it looked like in December of 2023 under the Biden administration. Behind me is a makeshift staging ground where hundreds of migrants from Latin America have been sleeping and waiting to be processed by overtaxed Border Patrol agents here in Eagle Pass, Texas. During this entire trip, we have not seen a single migrant. And the fire chief of Eagle Pass told us that during the Biden administration, at the peak of the border crisis, his team was responding to about 3 reports of migrants drowning every single day. Now they're responding to 1 drowning every 3 months. So the situation here has changed dramatically.
Remember how we told you this a very long time ago? We said, hey, the fake victim class creates actual victims. The fake victim class creates real victims. That's what we see with illegal immigration. Oh, they're just coming here seeking a better life, they say about every single person who comes here, works seasonally, sends money back, and then leaves and doesn't pay taxes. No, what really happens is you're creating a class of actual victims, more slaves than ever on Earth in recorded history right now, 50 million. A lot of them just trafficked sexually. That takes place across the border. 3 people per day drown versus 1 every 3 months. Those are some of the real victims. Tom Homan was on the show. We talked about that. Even the people who are actually doing or think they're doing right by their family, coming here to work in a hotel, coming here to work construction. Guess what? It enables the entire industry of drug cartels, and people die. People are trafficked across the border. That was directly the result of Marxist leftist compassion, to be clear.
How many kids were missing? 300 and something thousand kids, I think, was the number that was being floated around during that time period. How many of those 3 per day crossing that river do you think were kids that were drowning? The most vulnerable people trying to get across that river. Adults could probably swim to some degree, but the children that they were trying to carry at the same time, probably not. People like Miss Rachel piss me off in this conversation because they don't stop to think of the next thing. They just go, oh, somebody told me something, so therefore this must be bad. You want to put kids with parents? That's fantastic. What if they're not their parents? What if you just put kids with their traffickers that are abusing them? One of the big reasons Holman told us that these people are separated. You want to save kids' lives? Make sure there's no incentive to come across the border illegally because they die in the back of trailers and beg their father not to let anybody hurt them or eat them. I can't remember what the little boy said before they died. That's what Holman said happened.
What happened with that one was the back of not like a shipping container, but where they would carry horses, livestock. And there was a small window. And at this point, they were cooking alive in there because they were left by the Coyotes cartel. And some of the people, because someone had survived, he said that some of the people thought if we throw some body parts out of that window,
people may come and check on us.
We may be able to get people's attention. And of course, the only body parts that would fit through the window would be that young boy. And so they found the young boy draped by his father, protecting him. And Tom Homan was crying on this on the show, talking about it. I mean, to suggest that he doesn't care. You know what? How about this? Instead of going to the whole who cares more, and it's very obvious the left is incredibly caring when it comes to dealing with other people's money. How about we approach policy with, all right, what's the benefit for the United States? Let's do that. It used to be with illegal aliens, they would say, who's going to pick your strawberries? Who's going to clean your toilets, right? Because they were racist. Well, now with AI and automation, that's not really a thing. And plenty of Americans are willing to go into trades and work these jobs. So what's the benefit? It's very clear it wasn't by accident. Can we all agree with that? Now, it's very clear that it wasn't by accident. Okay, the border was kind of porous and we tightened it up a little bit. They were proactively, deliberately allowing people to come over and basically telling them, yeah, you're on your way. Appear at your court date or not. What's the benefit to people coming here in the United States who don't speak the language, who aren't skilled in any particular form of labor or educated and get plenty of subsidies and access to social services? What's the benefit? We should approach everything with that. That's what America First means. And that does include foreign policy as well. There can be benefit. Do it if it's beneficial to the American people. You know, what countries have done since the history of always And what all other countries still do. Do you think that those not paying their bill in NATO do you think they're doing that for any reason other than it is to their benefit? Do you think that other nations who don't fund their own military because they know the United States will protect them while they can give their people all kinds of luxuries and frivolities, do you think they're doing that because it's to anything other than their benefit? Do you think other nations do anything to their detriment? The one exception is if it's part of a globalist or internationalist order where it's temporarily to their detriment as far as mass migration, but it is beneficial to those in power, the leftists in elite positions. We should approach everything with, what's the benefit here? What do we get out of it? Is that fair? Some people may say that's cold, but you know what? I think it's cold to enact a policy that leads to 3 people drowning that could be completely avoided every single day, as we saw at Eagles Pass. How about that? Eagle Pass. I always have a problem with the apostrophe S. Oh, you're still here watching this on YouTube? There's no more. It's over. Just like YouTube. YouTube is over. It's not a thing anymore. How many Seth Meyers clips do you need? Head on over to Rumble. Follow me there. Live on weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern, where we can actually speak freely and don't have to self-censor. YouTube it's really not a thing. Like, you ever seen one of those towns that maybe was like a mining town, or maybe they made some kind of alloy? You say, hey, I wonder what they did in this town. It takes a while to find a person who can tell you what they did in that town, and even then you don't fully understand it. That's YouTube. YouTube is that town. So go to Rumble.